Good morning, everybody. So today is Thursday, January 14th, and we are going to start our new module today. Yesterday, you were supposed to have fixed page 95 for our new module so that we can go ahead and get started today. So we're going to be on page 96 and 97 and 98 today. So go ahead and number those pages. 96, 97, and 98. All right, so go ahead and get those pages numbered. And I am going to go ahead and start the video. There we go.
Welcome to Module 3, Incredible Thinkers. I'm Sue Sabella, your Great Minds teacher. Let's see what we need for today. Today we'll need Ruby Bridges Goes to School, My True Story, your journal, and a pencil. So please pause here to gather what you need and just hit play when you're ready to continue. As we move into Module 3, you're going to begin to notice some things about yourself. You're growing older and getting more independent as a learner. Your thinking is going to become even more powerful, and your knowledge will continue to grow. During Module 3, we're going to meet 3 very important people from history. They were civil rights heroes. And as we meet these heroes, this question will guide our thinking and our reading and our writing. I'm going to read the question out loud first, and then let's read it together. How can people respond to injustice? Now, let's do it together. How can people respond to injustice? Let's take a closer look at the word injustice. When I look at the word injustice, I notice that in is the prefix that starts or begins the word injustice. In as a prefix means not. Justice means fairness. If in means not and justice means fair, what does injustice mean? Pause here to shout it out to me or to tell a learning partner, and just hit play when you're ready to continue. Injustice means something that is not fair. Since this is such an important word in our essential question, let's capture or write the word down in our journal along with the definition. Pause here to grab your journal and a pencil and just hit play when you're ready to continue. Before we write down the definition, let's write down the name of the module and also the essential question. Pause here to write this in your journal and just hit play when you're ready to continue.
Okay, so this is what you are going to be writing on page 96. So you're going to write the module on the top, civil rights heroes, and then you're going to write the question, the essential question, how can people respond to injustice? Okay, so this is what your journal should look like right now. Page 96, Civil Rights Heroes, How Can People Respond to Injustice?
You can even draw a line between in and justice and jot down not fair. Injustice means something that is not fair. Pause here to write the definition in your journal and just hit play when you're ready to continue.
Okay, so I would like for you to do this also. Put the line between the
At the beginning of this video, I mentioned that you're going to notice something about yourself, that you're growing.
Okay, so I want you to put the line between the N and the D, and then write not fair. And then I want you to write something that is not fair. So here's what your journal is going to look like. Okay, so I have the title of the module, the essential question. I broke down my word injustice and I wrote what it means. And then I drew a line across the page to separate it. So make sure that your page looks like this, page 96. So go ahead and push pause, make sure your page looks like this, and then hit play when you're ready.
Growing more independent as a learner. So before we move on in the lesson, I'd like you to make 3 placeholders. And let me show you what I mean. We're going to draw a frame for each of the civil rights heroes that we'll be learning about during this module. First, we'll begin with Ruby Bridges. We'll also have a frame for Martin Luther King Jr. And we'll also have a frame for Sylvia Mendez. I call these frames placeholders because they're holding a place for your knowledge. As we dive into the civil rights heroes, you'll be able to go back to each frame to either draw a picture of the civil rights hero based on what you're learning about that hero, or you could decide to jot down words that describe that hero throughout the module. These frames are just holding a place for your knowledge. Pause here to draw the frames now and just hit play when you're ready to continue.
Okay, so you do need to do this. I would like you to make your boxes a little bit bigger than that though. But you are going to draw the boxes so that you can put your knowledge of the people in the boxes. Okay, you're gonna need one on the left side for Ruby Bridges and 2 on the right side for Martin Luther King Jr. and the other one for Sylvia Mendez. Okay, so here's what mine looks like. Okay, so I put one box on this side for Ruby Bridges, and I put 2 over here, one for Martin Luther King Jr. and one for Sylvia Mendez. Okay, that's on pages 96 and 97.
Just like a historian, let's narrow our research focus even more during this arc. What injustices did people face before the Civil Rights Act of 1964? We're going to be exploring what our civil rights heroes faced before the Civil Rights Act of 1964. I'm going to show you the covers of two texts from our last module. And I want you to look at the covers and think about those texts with this question in mind. Which one is informational text? Ready? Point to the cover of the text that is informational text. And remember, informational text is filled with facts, and everything in that text is true. Plains Indians is an example of informational text. Everything in this text is true, and it's based in facts. Narrative nonfiction is a type of text that is mostly true, but it sounds like a story because it usually follows a sequence or timeline. Sometimes narrative nonfiction also describes people or events. An example of narrative nonfiction is The Buffalo Are Back. Another example of narrative nonfiction is Ruby Bridges Goes to School, My True Story. And this text was written by Ruby Bridges herself. This is narrative nonfiction. It will follow a sequence or a timeline, but it is filled with true facts that occurred during this event in history. We'll begin just the way we always do, by noticing and also by generating or making wonder questions. Before we grab our journal and pencil to create a Notice and Wonder chart, let's take a closer look at the text we're going to notice and wonder about today. Ruby Bridges Goes to School, My True Story by Ruby Bridges. Let's take a closer look at 3 images from this text. As you look at the images, what are you noticing about these images? Pause to take a close look so you can notice, and also just hit play when you're ready to continue. You probably noticed that this text includes photographs of real people and real places. These are called historical photographs. Ruby Bridges is a real person, and she wrote this book about the true story of her own life. During Module 2, when we learned about the American West, we learned information and our knowledge grew by studying real people. We learned that Theodore Roosevelt was a real person in The Buffalo Are Back, and he really did help the buffalo in the West. We also learned about the Plains Indians. They are a real group, a Native American tribe. In this module, we'll also learn about real people. We'll learn about Ruby Bridges, Martin Luther King Jr., and also Sylvia Mendez. Pause here to notice using the covers of each of these texts that we'll dig into during this module. Just hit play when you're ready to continue. There's so much to notice on the covers of these texts. You probably noticed that there are many children on the covers. You also may have noticed that there are 2 books about Ruby and 2 books about Martin Luther King. Lastly, you may have noticed that some of the covers had photographs and others had illustrations or drawings. Pause here to take a stretch break and just hit play when you're ready to continue. I'm sure you noticed the check mark in the corner, and you know what that means. Your teacher will take this opportunity to check what you're noticing and also your wonder questions. Please pause here to set up your notice and wonder questions chart in your journal. Just hit play when you're ready to begin noticing and wondering.
Okay, so we are on page 98 of your journal right now. We're going to set up our notice and wonder chart. The first thing that we need to do, we'll put the date on the top, which I forgot to do, which is 14th. So we need to put the date on the top and the title of the book, Ruby Bridges Goes to School. And then we're going to write our notice and wonder. Make that into a chart. Okay, so you're going to make your notice and your wonder chart, the title and the date on the top, notice and wonder, and we're on page 98 of your journal. Okay, now Miss Sabella is going to stop and pause on each individual page. I do not want you, I'm not requiring you to tell me something that you notice and wonder on each single page. I would just like you to at least find 2 things that you notice and 2 things that you were wondering about, okay, for the whole book. So when she pauses on each page, if there's nothing that you want to write for notice and the wonder, you don't have to, but you need to have at least 2 of each, 2 notices and 2 wonders. And guys, this time when I check them, if you don't have the 2 notices and 2 wonders, you're going to lose points for it, okay? And while I'm at it, today's magic word is, let's go with Buzz. Buzz Lightyear. He's our magic word for the day, okay? Buzz Lightyear. All right, let's go back to the video.
Remember, you're an independent learner, so you pause when you need to as I'm reading the book aloud. Remember to use the question words as you create your wonder questions. And be sure to remember the 2 that really push your thinking to a higher level: why questions and also how questions. Ready? Here we go. A long time ago, some people thought that Black people and white people should not be friends. In some places, Black people were not allowed to live in the same neighborhoods as white people. What do you notice about the historical photographs? Are there unknown words there? Do you have questions about the words? Be sure to jot them down. Also, what did you notice about what was read or what you see in the historical photographs? Remember to pause as long as you need to and just hit play when you're ready to continue. In some places, Black people were not allowed to eat in the same restaurants as white people. Pause here to notice and wonder, and just hit play when you're ready to continue. I bet that you're doing a wonderful job noticing and wondering. If you have your own copy of this text, go ahead and pause, read the book on your own, and continue to notice and wonder. If you feel more comfortable continuing with me, let's keep going. And in some places, Black children and white children could not go to the same schools. This is called segregation. The United States government said segregation is wrong. People should live where they want. People should eat where they want. Children should go to school where they want. Pause here to notice and wonder, and just hit play when you're ready to continue. My name is Ruby Bridges. In 1960, I went to kindergarten in a school for Black children. I liked my school. I liked my teacher. I liked my friends. Pause here to notice and wonder, and just hit play when you're ready to continue. But there was a school for white children even closer to my house than the school for Black children. It was the William Frantz Elementary School. The government said Ruby Bridges should be allowed to go to the William Frantz School. Pause here to notice and wonder, and just hit play when you're ready to continue. In 1961, I was in first grade. My mother took me to the Frantz School. Marshals came with us to make sure that we were safe. Pause here to notice and wonder, and just hit play when you're ready to continue. Some people did not want a Black child to go to the white school. They stood near the school. They yelled at me to go away. Pause here to notice and wonder, and just hit play when you're ready to continue. Parents took their children out of the school. I was alone with my teacher, Mrs. Henry. Pause here to notice and wonder, and just hit play when you're ready to continue. I loved Mrs. Henry, and Mrs. Henry loved me. I was a very good student. I learned math. I learned how to read, but I wish the children would come back. Pause here to notice and wonder, and just hit play when you're ready to continue. Months and months passed. Then one day, children began to come back to school. At last, I had friends to play with. I was very, very happy. Pause here to notice and wonder, and just hit play when you're ready to continue. Many people have read about me in newspapers and books. A famous writer, John Steinbeck, wrote about me. He wrote that I was very brave. Pause here to notice and wonder, and just hit play when you're ready to continue. A First Lady, Eleanor Roosevelt, wrote a letter to me. The letter told me that I was a good American. Norman Rockwell was an artist who painted a picture of me. The painting has become very famous. Pause here to notice and wonder, and just hit play when you're ready to continue. Now I am grown up. I am married. I have children. One day, Mrs. Henry and I were both asked to be on a TV show. That was the first time we had seen each other in many years. Now we talk to each other often. Pause here to notice and wonder, and just hit play when you're ready to continue. Now, Black children and white children can go to the same schools. I like to visit schools. I tell my story to children. I tell children that Black people and white people can be friends. Pause here to notice and wonder, and just hit play when you're ready to continue. And most important, I tell children to be kind to each other. Pause here to notice and wonder, and just hit play when you're ready to continue. Before you close up your journal and we move on to another part of our video lesson, I'd like you to review the question words and just read over your questions to make sure you have a good variety of questions, which means different kinds of questions. Pause here to do that now and just hit play when you're ready to continue. Pause here to take a stretch break and just hit play when you're ready to continue. In this module, in addition to reading about real people and places from the past, we'll also look very closely at historical photographs. When we look at historical photographs, it's like looking into the past. We can see events that we were not there to actually see or experience. Although this photograph is not from the text that we just wondered and noticed about, this photograph is connected to that text somehow. Pause here to think about what is the connection between this photograph and the text, Ruby Bridges Goes to School, My True Story. Just hit play when you're ready to continue. Please open up your journal to a fresh page and grab that pencil so you can stop and jot about the connection between the photograph and the text, Ruby Bridges Goes to School, My True Story. What is that connection? Pause here to stop and jot and just hit play when you're ready to continue.
Okay, so before you do that, I would like to go back to my notice and wonder chart. Okay, I wrote some things down. Remember, you need to have at least 2 notices and 2 wonders. And here are some things that I noticed and I wondered while I was listening to Miss Sabella read the story. I noticed that the signs that the people out in the crowd were holding up were very mean. And I noticed when she's walking into her school that she is surrounded by all these big, tall men. I noticed that people are yelling at Ruby. And I noticed that it seems like Mrs. Henry is very nice. And I also noticed at the end that Ruby feels happy when the other kids come back. Here are some things that I wondered while I was listening to that story. How did Ruby feel when she went to her new school? Why were the people so mean to Ruby when they didn't even know her? And why did the parents take their kids out of school? Why did they do that? So, those were some things that I noticed and I wondered. What you're going to do is remember you have 2 notices, 2 wonders, and you're going to take a picture and you're going to upload it for me so that I can see what you wrote for your notice and your wonder. And so now we're going to go to page 99 and we're going to do a quick stop and jot. So we need to write on the top. All right, stop and jot. And we are going to look at the photo and the cover of the book. How do you think these two things are connected? What you're going to do is you're going to quickly, and remember a stop and jot is just a sentence or two. Doesn't even have to be a sentence, it could be bullet points. So you're going to, on page 99, stop and jot about how the photograph and the text are connected. You go ahead and push pause, and then when you are done, you can hit play, okay? Okay, so what you are going to do is you are also going to upload a picture of page 99 to the Google slide today so that I can see what you made a connection between the photograph and the text. We are almost finished. Let's go ahead and go back to the video.
What a way to start Module 3 with Ruby Bridges by our side. She was a child, but she was a hero to so many. I can't wait to learn more about Ruby Bridges with you, as well as Martin Luther King and Sylvia Mendez. I will see you again soon, my friends.
Okay, so that is the end of our video lesson. So again, what you're going to do today is you did 4 pages in your journal today, okay? We identified page 96 and 97. We made our place mats, I think she called them, so that we can come back later and fill it in with our information or illustrations. So you're going to show me these 2 pages that you did, and you're going to show me page 98, 99 in your journals, okay? So those are the pages that you are going to take a picture of and submit to me in the Google Classroom. Or if you would like, you can make a video for me and read to me what you wrote for your notice and wonder chart and your stop and jot. And you can attach that to the Google Classroom assignment or attach it into the Google slide. All right, I'm gonna let you decide if you would like to make a video or take a photograph, either way. So that's all that I've got for you today. I hope you guys have a great afternoon, and I will see you later for phonics. Bye.